Ready to get the real tea on the gay agenda? Yeah? Join me as we debunk some of the most common LGBTQI+ myths and misconceptions. Femmes, masks, baddies beyond the binary. I'm Jo Johnson, and I'm so happy to be here with you on behalf of CAISO, Sex and Gender Justice. If you've been following our Inclusive Futures campaign, thank you. If you're new to CAISO, welcome. And if you want to find out more about our campaign and CAISO, follow us on social media. So we have quite a lineup for you today. We're going to look at the top 3 most common misconceptions about LGBTQI+ people and the issues they face. 1. LGBTQI+ people want more rights. 2. That not from here. And 3. All of them mad. Let's get into it. Here's a not so fun fact. There are currently no protections for people based on their sexual orientation or gender identity in Trinidad and Tobago. That's zero, zilch, nada, nothing, like a bank account in the middle of the month. Matter of fact, the Equal Opportunity Act explicitly leaves out persons' sexual orientation as a point of protection. So that means LGBTQI+ people like me can be wrongfully fired, denied healthcare services, even get rejected from schools and educational opportunities based on their orientation and gender identity. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds a little bit like discrimination to me. So what are we doing about it? Well, at CAISO, our Add All 3 campaign actually focuses on that issue. The Add All 3 to the Equal Opportunity Act campaign is actually a broad coalition of organizations that are all gathering to defend the rights and protections of persons based on their health, age, and LGBTQI+ status. But don't take my word for it. Let's look at the facts. According to Wholeness and Justice's Insight Report for 2022, clients have shared their general willingness and anxieties when accessing public services for fear of discrimination and stigma. 85% of clients had a history of mental health issues and experienced challenges with emotional well-being. 75% of clients had difficulty just navigating social services, and a combined 62% of clients reported instances of intimate partner violence, public discrimination, and harassment. Doesn't sound too nice now, does it? Our data also found that in most institutions and organizations, even some national services, which are supposed to be accessible to all citizens, homophobia and transphobia were very commonly accepted as norms. Now, can you imagine trying to go to the hospital to get help, reaching out to a doctor and being rejected simply because someone doesn't think you should be who you are? Trying to find an apartment, a safe place to live, trying to enroll in a program to uplift yourself socially, and you get rejected simply because of who you love or how you express yourself. When something traumatic happens, you expect the police, you expect your doctors to have that level of care and support. But instead, many times, people within the LGBTQI+ community are treated with humiliation, abuse, and sometimes even violence. So in reality, LGBTQI+ people, we're not trying to find more rights, we're just trying to get rights. This is about equality, equity, and justice for everyone. Ready to burst some more myths and misconceptions? Let's go. LGBTQI+ people, trans people, queer people, same-sex loving people, the alphabet mafia, whatever you want to call them. I call them community, right? We have always existed. This is nothing new. It is nothing niche. It is not a trend. Across the Caribbean region, across the globe, LGBTQI+ people have always existed. There are many instances documented historically and through sociological research that show and prove that we have always been here. But if you still don't believe me, you can get more information by checking out the Rise Up guide. This one really explains everything that you need to know and tells you why this is not new. It talks about queerness and gender expansiveness from Indigenous to African to Asian communities, and really just lets you know with citations, this isn't new. And here's where I shamelessly plug CAISO. We've been working for over 15 years with the LGBTQI+ community, and for the last 3 years with a Wholeness and Justice program that offers really essential services to support the queer community in Trinidad and Tobago. Fun fact alert, did you know there's a whole digital archive that features both the lived experiences and diverse stories of queer and trans people in the Caribbean? Stories like same-sex weddings in Guyana from as far back as 1884 and even in the 1950s. So, doesn't look so foreign now, does it? If you want to learn more, the link to the archive is available below. So getting back to the program, we're about to deal with our final myth/misconception. LGBTQI plus people are all mentally ill. Yeah, being LGBTQI plus is not a mental illness, no matter what people may say. In fact, a lot of psychological theories actually painted LGBTQI plus people as being dangerous, immoral, and deviant. This made it incredibly difficult and dangerous for people to just live. Fast forward to 1990, where the World Health Organization dropped homosexuality from its list of mental disorders. That was a massive win for the LGBTQI plus community. So, annually on May 17th, we celebrate Ida Hobbit, which stands for International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. It's a day to honor progress and to keep pushing for equity, equality, and justice for all. Like I said, being trans, gay, queer, however you identify, is not a mental illness. However, living in a society that constantly discriminates and normalizes harming you and your community can take a toll on your mental health. That's why so many persons within the LGBTQI plus community need extra support and struggle with issues like depression, anxiety, and so much more. So at KAISO, in commemoration of Ida Hobbit, we released our insights reports based off of 2022 to 2023, and here's a scoop. Structural discrimination is not a myth. Many clients spoke about the different levels of violence they experience from just existing to trying to access these public services. And because our legal system does not acknowledge or protect persons of LGBTQI plus identities, we are left feeling invisible and discarded with no form of redress. This leads to a situation where it's sort of like you're piling on the trauma of just existing in a world that does not want you here. It's usually called minority stress or endurance trauma. This chronic and pervasive stress is entirely socially created, and it takes a toll on your mental and physical health. Many LGBTQI plus persons have reported instances of being rejected by their families, even being removed forcibly from their homes. This family violence has caused them to suffer deeply, and it's not just traumatic. It has resulted in severe economic and social hardships, a reality that does not need to exist anymore. In the end, we all need to remember that whether you're gay, you're bi, you're trans, however you identify, that is not a mental illness. However, because of the society we live in, discrimination and other forms of violence, it can obviously lead to LGBTQI plus persons struggling with mental health issues. This is why at KAISO we offer services through our Wholeness and Justice program that really offer the emotional support and the mental health care that is needed, really needed in our community. Remember, the more that we support and respect one another, try to understand one another, is the faster we can get to an equal place for every creed, race, and person. All of the resources in this video can be found right here. Just click the link and check it out. If you enjoyed this video or any of the information we shared, make sure to follow KAISOs on social media, hit that like button, hit the share button, and let's carry the conversation on. Use hashtag #InclusiveFutures and let's see, what do you think?